This kid was so lazy he tried to collect eggs without even getting out of the hammock. But 3 days later, he saved the entire kingdom. And nobody understood how. He never trained. He wasn't strong. He barely got out of bed. Yet he defeated the toughest men in town, using only his mind. And the craziest part? It all began with an excuse that backfired. But there's one detail in this story almost no one notices. A detail that, if you've ever felt stuck, lost, or untalented, could flip a switch in your head today. Oh, and yes, you're going to learn English in this video without even realizing it. But none of this will make sense if you skip ahead. Drop a part 2, please, in the comments if I've already got your attention. Because by the end of this story, you'll stop doubting what you can do with what you already have right now. It all begins with a guy who just wanted to sleep 5 more minutes. His name was Thomas, and he hated to work. While the kids in town were out in the fields under the blazing Midwestern sun, planting corn and hauling buckets, Thomas spent his afternoons lying in the shade, fiddling with pebbles, building silly contraptions just to avoid effort. One day he tied strings to the hens so the eggs would roll straight into his basket without ever leaving the hammock. And it worked for 2 days, until one chicken tumbled straight into the well. Thomas' father, a quiet, hard-working farmer with calloused hands, just watched in silence. Exhausted, worn down, he didn't say much, but he noticed everything. He knew the world doesn't wait for those who wait too long. Son, one day your laziness is going to cost you. Thomas only grinned, shrugged, and drifted back to sleep. But something was shifting. His father coughed more and more. His hand shook. The harvest fell behind. And Thomas, even seeing it all, stayed in his corner, believing there'd always be someone else to do the work for him. But life, unlike chickens, doesn't follow strings. That morning, the silence in the house was heavier. Thomas' father didn't get up. Feverish, lying in bed, he only whispered, "Today the field is yours." Thomas froze. He'd never harvested alone, never stayed standing for more than an hour. But now, he had no choice. He tried. Grabbed the hoe with both hands, stumbled in the mud, forgot to water half the rows. Came home dirty, exhausted, with an emptiness growing inside. The next day, worse, and the next, the plants began to wither. 3 weeks later, the field looked like a graveyard of dry leaves. And Thomas, for the first time, felt the weight of not knowing how to do anything right. That night, he sat on top of the hill, staring at the dark sky, his hands covered in failed soil. "Maybe I'm useless," he muttered. But deep down, a spark flickered. It wasn't strength, it wasn't courage, it was something subtler. The need to change. The next morning, the whole town froze. A royal messenger appeared on a white horse, the golden crest shining on his chest, scroll in hand. By order of the king, a competition will be held at the palace. 3 trials, 1 winner. Prize, 100 gold coins. 100 coins. More than the whole town could earn in a year. Thomas heard it leaning against a fence, his face dirty, his spirit even heavier, but his heart beat differently. 100 coins could save his father, replant the field, change everything. "You?" laughed 2 farmhands. You can barely carry a bucket." Their laughter cut like a knife. But Thomas didn't answer. He just looked up at the sky. And for the first time in days, he didn't feel small. He signed up. No training, no chance, no support. The town laughed, but his eyes had changed. And as absurd as it seemed, the laziest kid in town was now a competitor. The first trial was announced high on the Royal Hills. Cross a deep lake and grab the flag on the other side. All the contenders, tall, broad, with arms like oak logs, dove straight in without hesitation. The water was freezing, the distance long. One gave up in the first few yards. Thomas didn't jump. He just stood on the bank, scanning the trees around him. Seconds later, he sprinted, not toward the lake, but into the woods nearby. He grabbed 3 branches, a vine, a torn scrap of cloth. And while the others swam, Thomas built something, a makeshift raft. The judges whispered. The crowd laughed out loud. But Thomas shoved his little boat into the water, paddling with his hands, barely breaking a sweat. Some contestants were gasping, swallowing water. Thomas reached the other side, 3rd place. Not first, but nobody expected him to finish at all. And that was enough to get the whole town talking. He wasn't strong. He wasn't fast. But now everyone knew. He was dangerous because he thought differently. Final trial. In the center of the palace courtyard, 7 massive wooden blocks, each weighing nearly half a ton. The task was simple. Push your block across the arena to the finish line. No help, no wheels, no tricks. The others reached for ropes, levers, logs, the obvious choices. Thomas, he asked for a knife. The crowd burst into laughter. "What are you going to do? Slice it up like a Thanksgiving turkey?" someone shouted. But Thomas didn't answer. He stayed silent and began to carve. Minute by minute, the block's shape changed. Corners disappeared. Edges turned to curves. A circle emerged. When the final gong rang, the others were still straining to drag their blocks. Thomas just gave his a push. The sphere rolled forward, effortless, like a basketball bouncing downhill on a street in Philly. It crossed the line on its own. Silence. Then thunderous applause. He didn't just win. He rewrote the game, from lazy to ingenious, from ridiculous to champion. Because where everyone else saw a problem, he saw a different shape. Thomas came back to town with gold in his hands. But the look in people's eyes had changed. He was no longer the kid with the strings, the excuses, the hammock. He was the kid who won without following anyone else's path. He wasn't stronger. He wasn't faster. But he was clearer. Clear about who he was and what he could do once he truly decided to try. The truth is, laziness, when steered by the right intention, can become a superpower. Thomas had always been smart, but he used his brain only to escape. The day he found a real reason, a why, strong enough, that same mind that avoided effort started creating solutions no one else could see. And maybe you see a bit of yourself in him. Not because you're lazy, but because you haven't yet found your reason. So if this story touched you, hold on to these words. Work smart. Don't just work harder, work smarter. Outthink them, beat them with strategy, make it count. Make every effort matter. What Thomas did wasn't a miracle. It was a decision. Now the question is, what will yours be? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more stories that hit with real emotion, you already know what to do.